Defending champion Fabrizio Giovanardi opened his victory account a couple of hours ago here at Thruxton. Can he do it again? Can Vauxhall dominate again? Round 5 of the HiQ MSA British Touring Car Championship with Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Well, it's a good question, Steve. Can Vauxhall do it again? This Vectra, as we have seen, is just so brilliant around these fast-sweeping corners at Thruxton.
Well, for my money, Giovanardi will do it again with the weight.
Well, let's see what happens. The cars are already on their formation lap. Quickly rattle through the grid. It's Giovanardi and Matt Neal on the front row, now with ballast. On the second row of the grid, another Vauxhall, that of Andrew Jordan. Colin Turkington with the fast-starting BMW. Then we've got Paul O'Neill going well for sunshine.co.uk. Adam Jones in the Cartridge World Seat. And then as we go further back, Stephen Jelly for Team RAC and Matt Jackson on his return with Team RML and that Chevy Lassetti. And then Harry Volkard and Jason Plato on row 5. And right behind them, remember, James Thompson. He's starting 11th with Johnny Adam in a fast-starting Airways BMW. Martin Bell is 13th. Dave Pinkney is 14th on the grid. And that's... see how he gets on. Tom Chilton and Martin Johnson are a little bit further back, and then towards the rear we've got Tom Chilton, Rob Collard, John George there on the next row of the grid, and right towards the back of the grid Nick Leeson and Alan Morrison, and then Liam McMillan and Dan Eves. So that's how the grid is completed. Good to see that Dan Eves' car is out. They had that steering problem earlier on, of course. That's all sorted, and he's starting from the back of the field. So here we go. Can Vauxhall make it another 1, 2, 3? They dominated that first race of the day. Can they do it again? We're about to find out. Lights on. Away we go, and Giovanardi again fast off the line. Here comes Turkington from the second row, and it's the BMW of Turkington trying to squeeze in a second. I think he has got past Matt Neal. Giovanardi, though, with an excellent getaway, and it's all about second place, still side by side. Matt Neal versus Colin Turkington. Off has gone Dan Eves, I think. Is it Dan or is it Adam Jones? We'll check that is Dan Eves, right from the back of the field as the battle for second continues. Turkington and Matt Neal, and he's been squeezed out by Matt Neal there. Turkington drops back down to third place, but he is ahead of Andrew Jordan, and we gather there's going to be a safety car.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and really, Matt, well, hopefully not too serious there. It's a usual accident. You do get that at Thruxton quite often. The safety car boards will be going out all round the circuit. The drivers have been told on the radios as well, so it won't be long before they actually stop racing. But Turkington got a great start there. Matt Neal actually left the door wide open. He's managed to get back into second. Giovanardi cleared off. There you see the safety car boards and flags. So they shouldn't be racing at the moment, but the drivers very used to driving under last year's conditions. They've all slowed down now, where they race back to the line. But Dan's out of the car. He felt very embarrassed about the off in the first race. He did actually confirm to me that he just spun the car on cold rear tyres and then broke the steering arm. They've had to go off and fetch another one, and it hasn't paid off, unfortunately.
Oh, he's having a miserable time, isn't he? The venue of his brilliant three-way win in 2005. He's been out of BTCC for a little while, of course, and it's all going a bit wrong here this weekend. There is Dan, as you say. It's great to see he's okay. He's out of the car, and there's the safety car going through. So the field has now slowed right down and stacks up behind the safety car with Giovanardi leading from Neal. Now this is the start, and of course the action happened towards the back, but initially it was Turkington who made a good getaway.
Yeah, Turkington got straight across to the inside in front of Jordan and inside Neal. Neal left the door. Now watching the back, coming into view just oh, it was a tangle with Nick Leeson, and no way of stopping the car before it went backwards into the wall.
Well, that seems a great shame. Didn't see the initial contact really, but as you say, definite contact with the Nick Leeson BMW. Slams Dan Eves into the tyre barrier on the outside. An end of race, I'm afraid. On board with Matt Neal, this is how it looked from his point of view.
Yeah, Giovanardi's gone, and coming up on the inside fast is Turkington. There he is already. And Turkington actually gives him a lot of room on the outside there. He could have pushed him over. But Neal gets back in front by the time they get to the complex.
Watch Giovanardi ahead. He made a very good start, but he's got the ballast on here now, so he's having to get up. Matt Neal there was a little nudge there, I think, between Turkington and Neal, but then Neal was able to reclaim that second place.
Yeah, that gave Giovanardi a little gap as well, didn't it?
It did. So Fabrizio made a break, but of course that's been nullified by the safety car, which they're following now. Otherwise, there were no major changes. Stephen Jelly got away pretty well. He's now running in 5th place, so he'll be pleased about that, ahead of Paul O'Neill. Adam Jones is 7th. Then Jason Plato, he's 8th, so he's made up a couple of places from where he started. He was 10th on the grid, so that was a reasonably good getaway.
Yeah, I spoke to Paul O'Neill after the first race, and he was very happy with his car. He said he was very comfortable sitting there, and he's looking for a top 6th place, which hopefully will give him a position on the front of the grid for race 3, with the Vauxhalls penalised by the reverse grid, because it's going to be very hard to beat the Vauxhalls even now in this race with weight.
Right, well, there's James Thompson. Now, he's sitting in 11th place, which is pretty much where he started from. Let's go and have a word with him. Hi, James, this is Ben. What did you make of the start? You seem to have ended up pretty much where you started from.
Yeah, it was a bit of swings and roundabouts. We gained a couple of places off the line. But then really, to be honest, Ben, you know, you know what it's like the start of Thruxton. Usually there's that many casualties through the race. It's a bit of the old bull, young bull scenario where you just want to let everybody get on with it. Try and pick your way through a nice, neat first lap and stay in the race. And so, yeah, we gained a couple, we lost a couple, but ultimately we're in there fighting, and I'm looking forward to a good tussle in this one. A little bit like the last race, but hopefully a couple of places higher.
Well, you have to be careful, because we can watch your feet. We've got a camera looking at your feet right now, so we can watch you left foot braking and keeping the brake temperature up.
Well, they're my dancing feet.
Very good, very good. We'll have you on the dance programmes before you know it. Thanks, James. And he's still sitting there in 11th place behind the safety car. There is Steve Neal, team boss for Team Dynamics, of course, and they'll be hoping that he can make up a little bit of ground from there. He's in a Chevrolet sandwich at the moment, Tim, because he's got Matt Jackson just ahead of him and Harry Volkard just behind.
Yeah, it's going to be close, but I mean, obviously James is an old hand. You can hear how calm he is. You know, let the young bulls go, and the old bulls will catch him at the end. And he knows that this is a long race. Never mind the safety car, and he's just going to work his way through. It's a difficult one for him, this race, because the hatchback cars are stymied by top speed. They are not aero enough to get through, and it's no surprise really to see the Civic struggling a little bit.
Rob Collard is sitting in 13th place, but we reckon he had a pretty good start initially. We'll take a little look back at that start once again from Collard's point of view. Take a look at this. He launched it off the line pretty well, and look our number of cars he managed to get past using that rear-wheel drive.
Now, that was a fantastic start, wasn't it? A really good start. I mean, when you get that right in the BMW, you can jump 2 rows of the grid.
Yeah.
If you've got a long run to the first corner. And now he's looking ahead for some bunching into the complex. He'll try and go round the outside of Volkard, so he's on the left-hand side. He'll stick close to or behind Jackson. Got to be careful not to avoid not running into Thompson. Really getting muscled out there. But yeah, very, very good first couple of corners from Collard.
Yeah, he went from 17th there up into where he is now, which is 13th. So that was a very, very good getaway from Rob Collard. That was just watching him out the back section as well. And that was Matt Jackson got past Thompson along there somewhere, but there is Collard then, so he's not far outside the points there in 13th. And just to remind you, top 10 score, but even more crucially in this second race, you're looking at that reverse grid for race 3. That could be as many as 10 cars.
Yeah, anything between 6 and 10, as we've seen before, but obviously priority is to try and get it in the top 6 if you can, to guarantee at least a slot near the front. The weather is a bit cooler now, and certainly that will be a relief to some of the drivers, but all the punctures we had, not that we had many, but the punctures that we did have were definitely caused by people hitting the curbs too hard in the early laps. John George, a good example of that, and hopefully this will give them a chance to bring their tyre temperatures up before the restart.
Well, Vauxhall are in great shape at the moment, aren't they? They are sitting here at the moment 1, 2 and 4. Still a chance of another 1, 2, 3 clean sweep, because Andrew Jordan sitting behind Colin Turkington still, I'm sure, will be up for trying to get another podium finish. Behind him, though, is the second Team RAC car of Stephen Jelly, who had a very, very good getaway. And just coming through, there's an interested spectator, Ben Ainsley, the Olympic sailing gold medalist so many times. What an absolute star of his world he is, and he has a real liking for motorsport. So you never know, maybe one day we'll see him not at the tiller of a sailing dinghy or a sailing yacht, but at the wheel of a racing car.
Yeah, he had a day out with Stephen Jelly. I quite like to see Stephen Jelly in a Force 8 Gale in a dinghy himself. We might see what happened, how good he was on the water. But yeah, good to have him here. A few celebrities always turning up for touring cars. But back to the action. Safety car still has its lights on, taking a while to move the car. car. They've moved the car, but they're going to have to rebuild that tyre wall before racing can commence. He did go in quite hard.
Yeah. The thing here with Thruxton is he's starting quite a long way back. He was right at the back of the grid, so he was flat out from the start into that first corner, which is flat out, travelling pretty fast by the time he went off.
Yeah, doing well, probably doing best part of 90 miles an hour. And as we saw, once the car was turned around, it didn't lose any speed before the barrier. So, I mean, I'm hoping actually, because the car went in straight on backwards, it may not have too much suspension damage. There's a chance he could get it out for the last race, but you know, the Cartridge World team are not the biggest team on the grid, and it'll take a miracle to get them back out.
Yeah, great shame. But Adam Jones, his teammate, still in the top 10. He's sitting in 7th place at the moment after a very consistent run of points finishes at Brands Hatch, and it's a good start for this new team. As you say, they are a new team, a smallish team, Cartridge World Racing, all set up for this year. And in fact, there was a big change of personnel just before the start of the season. Some of the guys from North and South who were looking after the works Seats from previous years became involved just at the very last stages of the build-up to this season. And I have to say, they've done a great job.
Yeah, great job. Nick Clipson, one of the top engineers, has been over there giving some help. And you know, Adam Jones, we know a driver of fine pedigree and a great racer. Saw that in the first race. But his car, a bit like the Civic of Thompson, struggling as a hatchback with about 4 or 5 mile an hour down on top speed. So that's always going to be a handicap round here.
Yeah, the longer cars. They always get that extra few miles an hour. The Chevrolet obviously is a good shape for Thruxton, but it's that Vauxhall Vectra, as we've seen so many times. Also the Integra, Paul O'Neill we're looking at, that's a good shape of car too, because it's maybe slightly shorter, but it doesn't have that cut-off back end.
No, it's a fastback rather than a hatchback, and it actually is very good in the aero tunnel, so that's always been a good car here. But I think Turkington's going to fancy his chances a little bit. He has lost a little bit of ballast, obviously, since the first race, and it's possible that Giovanardi, now with that extra weight on, might just hold them up and give Turkington a chance to attack.
Yeah, well, there's James Thompson coming through. We saw Matt Jackson a moment ago in the RML Chevrolet Lacetti, still dialing himself into this new car that's completely fresh to him, of course, but it's great to see him back out in the series. Plato himself having that pretty good first lap, so up to 8th place. Now, I gather the safety car lights are out, and we are going to be going racing at the end of this lap, so that's good news. We're going to be getting back up to full racing speed.
Yeah, everyone associates Matt Jackson with the BMW drove 2 years ago. Back on board with Thompson. Look at him warming the brakes up with his left foot. He'll get some heat in those, and then he'll be ready to go. He is a left foot braker as well, so he'll use that during the course of the race. But Matt Jackson in his PCC-sponsored Chevrolet, it's great to see him back. And he was a dominant winner 3 years ago, the Seat Cupra Championship. So he knows how to drive front-wheel drive.
Yeah, no, he's totally at home in a front-wheel drive car. Here we go, coming up to the chicane. The safety car should be heading in, I think, on the exit here. The lights are out. The Porsche is heading into the pits, and we're going to go racing once again. And Giovanardi it is who leads the queue as they come out of the chicane, waits and then gets on the power. And Giovanardi goes for it once again, leading from teammate Matt Neal. Colin Turkington in 3rd. Battle's going on further back. Adam Jones coming under pressure from Jason Plato. Plato moves one way then the other. Can't find a way through as yet. And the Vauxhalls up front make the break with Turkington going with them. Plato's still on the attack in the blue Chevrolet, trying to get past that yellow and green Seat. And joining in the fun and games there as well is one of the Airways cars. That's Johnny Adam. Almost got alongside Plato for a moment. Behind him is Matt Jackson. Then it's James Thompson.
Yeah, Johnny Adam was looking for a gap round the outside if Plato got blocked on the inside by Adam Jones, but it didn't quite work out. But look how quick that Chevrolet is on the straight. That's a quick car, and as we know, the Adam car is not as quick.
On board with Jason Plato, looking at the back of Adam Jones then, and as you say, this is down towards the section now through this quick right-hander at Church, and then onto the main straight, which climbs uphill, where the engine power of this Chevrolet could come to the fore. Let's watch them through the right-hander here. You've got the other view from Plato's car here. As long as he gets a decent enough run through the corner, then he may be able to close, but he's not quite quick enough, I wouldn't have thought, through Church that time to really attack. Let's see. This is where the engine power really comes in, but no, he's not going to go for it, not yet. He's going to settle in behind Jones. Bit of brake locking going on up ahead, and Jones, Jelly, no, that's right, Jordan's still ahead of Stephen Jelly, then Paul O'Neill, then Adam Jones, then Jason Plato. So no change in that little group, but it's very, very tight indeed.
Yeah, Jordan's holding this group up, isn't he, now? He's definitely holding them up. He's struggling just to get his car. Oh, and Alan Morrison's turned around. Well, he's out there really just testing for the Aon Focus team. He's really not here to race, he's here just to test.
Let's see what happens.
But I suppose the racer in him got involved with Liam Willen, and he's turned him around.
Oh, that's a shame. Contact up at the chicane. Oh, Nick Leeson had to go right across the dirt to avoid them, and he did so, but that's good news. Giovanardi continues to lead then. 7 laps completed. Giovanardi's just set fastest lap, no surprise there. But remember, he is carrying maximum ballast, so it's pretty impressive. Matt Neal in second. There's Turkington in third in the Team RAC BMW. Further back, it's still Jones versus Plato. Jones in the yellow and green, Plato in the blue, coming to the inside now before the turn in for Church. And this is a good opportunity for Plato. He should be taking 7th. He's through on the inside, but as long as he doesn't run too wide on the exit. And James Thompson in the background also fighting his way up, trying to get past Matt Jackson. So there's battles all the way through the field, and Jason Plato keeping the parents happy by moving up a place and now into 7th.
Yeah, good move that. Jason managed to pull the car in tight going around Goodwin and get the run down to Church. No worries about going over the curbs. They can all do that now. But it's definitely Andrew Jordan who's struggling with the 27 kilos. He's lapping slowest in the front ones as Giovanardi again sets the fastest lap of the race.
So behind Plato it's still Jones, he's just passed, then it's Matt Jackson, and then James Thompson is 10th. Johnny Adam is 11th, Collard is 12th, Harry Volkard in 13th, and Martin Bell in 14th. Take a look at the pass once again.
Yeah, this is really coming through the long Goodwood, and Plato's just tucked the car inside. He's got enough grip to do it, which also shortens the distance around the circuit, so it gives him the straightest line, and he's relying on the engine power to pull him down. Here he goes. Adam Jones runs wide, Plato pulls it in tight, he's flat on the throttle, and the Chevy Powers just pulled him alongside.
That was good stuff, very, very good stuff indeed from Plato and Jones. Clean racing. And up front it's still Giovanardi who leads from Matt Neal in second place. This is the battle behind though for Jordan, between Jordan in the Pertec Vauxhall and Stephen Jelly in the second of the RAC BMWs. Not much to choose between them as yet, but as you say, Andrew Jordan definitely struggling a bit more with the ballast on board his car. And then behind him Paul O'Neill, also now of course having to protect from Jason Plato to a certain extent, and Plato getting very close to the back of the sunshine.co.uk Honda Integra. Behind them Jones, then Matt Jackson.
Yeah, the key to driving with the added weight on in the car is finesse, and you know, I think that this is just a matter of experience for Andrew Jordan. He's got to get a little bit more feel for the car. He's new into this car, and he's not used to running with the ballast on the car. He didn't have to do it last year because he wasn't running at the front, and just learning how to do it, how to finesse the car around to a good lap time is something that Matt Neal and Giovanardi are very good at, but he will pick that up. He's a quick learner and a very fast driver.
Absolutely, and remember he had some podium finishes last year, but they were usually in race 3 on a reverse grid, so he wasn't carrying ballast. Look at Stephen Jelly going on the attack. Oh, he's not going to find much space there. Jelly and Giovanardi made contact yesterday in practice, and we don't want to see another Vauxhall BMW clash here, but it's close stuff between these two currently for 4th place. Andrew Jordan in the Vauxhall, the 19-year-old, up against Stephen Jelly, the former single-seater race winner here at Thruxton, and a man who's didn't qualify particularly well yesterday, but made up good places in that first race and wants to continue the forward momentum here. Paul O'Neill still tucked in behind him, then Jason Plato looking one of the most attacking of this lineup at the moment. Adam Jones still part of that group as well, then Matt Jackson, and James Thompson still completes the top 10. Up towards the chicane we come one more time, and Jordan keeps it under control, dealing with a slightly heavier car, and Jelly couldn't find a way through there.
There's a train of cars behind him, and you do get the impression that something's got to give in this group. Paul O'Neill, the third of those cars, that one there, the sunshine.co.uk car, he's in 6th place, which is actually where he wants to finish this race. So he's sort of torn between having to defend and attack, but he's looking for that third race front row grid position, hopefully. But Plato, he'll be attacking come what may.
Yes, Plato right behind, looking at the attack. Look at Plato here. He's on the charge here. He definitely would like to get past Paul O'Neill if possible. Adam Jones behind, then Matt Jackson and James Thompson. It's hard to know exactly what's going to happen. Jason's mum looking nervous, looking anxious, but Jason's got it all under control at the moment as he continues that attack on Paul O'Neill. Right behind Adam Jones, though, getting closer again, and we know that Adam Jones doesn't mind if he gets past. He'll still attack and have another go at getting through, and he might line that Sayat up through a little gap into the pits. Alan Morrison, and I think it's over this time for Alan Morrison. Meanwhile, it's still all about the battle for 4th place.
Yeah, Alan Morrison, as I said, with no testing allowed between races, he's really just doing the testing for them at the racetrack, which is unfortunate he got involved in an incident because he don't learn anything sitting in the pits.
Oh, it's Jones versus Jackson there. He's still just holding on. Jackson almost alongside, and was alongside for a moment, but Jones managed to fight him off. Andrew Jordan still holding forth. Here's Plato on the inside now. Plato going for the move on Paul O'Neill. Side by side through a large corner. The first right-hander flat out through there. Now try and give each other just enough space as they come on towards the complex. Adam Jones is joining in as well. Paul O'Neill's got just in front enough. Freeway battle into the complex. Oh, contact. Paul O'Neill gets hit one way, gets hit the other. Off he goes. Well, you said something was going to happen there, and it certainly did, Tim.
Well, 3 into 1 doesn't go, and that's very unfortunate for Paul O'Neill. He'd just been passed by Plato, and he was trying to defend that position. You see them coming in there, so 3 abreast. He's in the middle. Jason's trying to slip up the inside again. Just touches Paul as he turns in, which pushes him wide and into Adam Jones, who then spins him inadvertently.
Oh, great shame for Paul O'Neill, running so strongly in that race. Let's just take a little look at what's going on here, because Adam Jones has dropped himself right back now, and he's involved in a battle with Collard and Matt Jack. And what's happened to Andrew Jordan? Something's happened. Now, he was battling with Stephen Jelly. Let's see if we can find out what happened. It was Jelly alongside Andrew Jordan. They made contact at one of the fastest parts of the track. Where did he come back out? Well, thankfully the grass is dry and he didn't go for too far.
Yeah, and unfortunately didn't dig in and roll over either, because that's another danger when you're sliding sideways. Well, that's through Noble. It's 125 miles an hour. Jelly's been looking down the inside there a couple of laps earlier, and in fairness, he was down the inside, but just not enough room for 2 cars.
So back with the leaders here. Giovanardi leads from Matt Neal in second. Look how close the top 3 are. Meanwhile, Dave Pinkney attacking Martin Bell. That's for 13th position. Up ahead of them on the road is Paul O'Neill. So he's still running, is Paul O'Neill, but he's now out of the points. He's down in 12th place after that incident where really he was a pretty innocent victim, but it was just the way it went, and that's hard racing for you. Somebody was going to lose out, and it was him. Look at Giovanardi, completely crossed up there sideways for race leader Giovanardi. How has he maintained momentum? I'm not quite sure, but Matt Neal can sense an opportunity here.
Well, in a situation like that, in a front-wheel drive car, the driver's just got to keep his foot in it, so he actually doesn't lose too much speed, but it's very spectacular to watch.
This is all going to give Colin Turkington some hope, because Matt Neal may try and defend, but he may go on the attack as well. The Vauxhall have got to play this a little carefully, because otherwise they could open the door for Team RAC to come through and snatch this one. They won't want that. Through the chicane they come. Giovanardi still in control. He loves using that 3rd curve through the chicane.
Yeah, he's the only one that does, and it does appear to work. Although you'd think you'd lose traction, the straight line ability of it means you can carry more speed. And he jumped out there a couple of yards, I thought.
Yeah, it does seem to work for him, but it's very hard to judge that correctly. But then he is a 9 times touring car champion, so he knows how to do these things. Let's see what Matt Jackson's been up to. Oh, he's been riding through the grass. Oh, that's straight through the high Q banner. Same colour match as the car, actually, so you hardly notice it.
Yeah, exactly, but that's going to wreck his cooling in the front, and if he doesn't watch his engine temperatures, they're going to go through the roof. Front 3 very close together, and this is about the time that Turkington's tyres are going to be working well.
This is good stuff. Now we've got a real battle on our hands for the race victory here, because Vauxhalls will be trying to hold on, but that BMW behind is threatening. We're on lap number 14 out of 19 now, and Giovanardi is definitely struggling for grip. The effect of that ballast has worn the tyres more, and he's definitely having to fight harder. Matt Neal holding on to 2nd place, a slightly lighter car, having finished 2nd earlier on, but Turkington, he just lost a touch of ground there again.
Yeah, lost it through the fast section round the back, but he'll close up again in the trickier section, the more technical parts of the circuit. But Matt Neal, I think from what Matt's shown us so far this year, if he gets a chance, he's going to go for it.
It's a tough one for the team. They all know that this track is hard on tyres, so how much do they let them race against each other? There's the damage to Matt Jackson, that bit of banner on the front. As you say, it's more of an overheating problem than anything, and that could, another bit comes off there. That would be a relief.
He'll be pleased about that, but the team will have been telling on the radio just to watch the temperatures. The last thing I want to do is blow an engine up, but he looks as though he's got away with it, and again, nothing too structural. See here how through the technical sections, the BMW really closes up, and then through the next 2 or 3 corners, he's going to lose some distance.
Yeah, it is, that's right. It's where the horsepower and the aerodynamics really come into effect, and the Vauxhalls just begin to edge away from that BMW once more. But Giovanardi's definitely struggling to keep the car as tight as he wants it to. He's wide. Matt Neal sideways behind him. Oh, this is great stuff. 4 championship titles in the British Series between them, and Matt Neal there lost some ground. Has he got a problem? Turkington sweeps through.
No, he lost momentum. He just lost momentum at the crucial point. He was trying to tee Giovanardi up for an inside move at Goodwood, because Giovanardi had been turning in wide, and it just went against him.
look at how he pushed Turkington through Church. He's going to come back if he can, but Turkington's just got that little bit of a break up the hill, and as they come towards the chicane, Turkington, I'm sure, will cover the inside. He does, and it's a change around. The Vauxhalls have been split here, and now Turkington has only got a few laps in which to try and impress himself on Fabrizio Giovanardi and try and take the victory across the line. 15 laps out of 19 completed. We're on to lap 16 and Turkington on the charge.
Yeah, that was actually really good driving by Matt Neal, because he set himself up to go inside at Goodwood, and then when Giovanardi started to come in, he backed right out of it, gave himself a big slide, and in doing so lost momentum, which allowed Turkington through, but he was crucially trying to avoid contact with his teammate.
Yeah, that would have been embarrassing, wouldn't it? Take them all out, take the other Vauxhall out. That would have undone all the hard work of the 1-2-3 they had earlier on today. But Team RAC are getting very excited about this, because Colin Turkington is getting ever closer to the back of Giovanardi. That's where Giovanardi's really struggling, turning into Goodwood. The back wants to come round before the front turns in, but he's still quick. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah, he has the same sort of slide every time. He takes that wide line in so he can get good drive out of the corner, and as soon as the back end slide, he's flat on the throttle to pull it round. Look, even here he's still sliding.
It is great stuff. Look how quick he was through Church, how committed he is still. That's the mark of a champion as well, but don't count Turkington out yet, because if he can just time it right in the tighter sections where we've seen the BMW is so quick, he might still grab this one. So coming around through the chicane one more time, we'll be going on to lap 17 out of 19 as they come across the line this time. Matt Neal's not giving up on that second place either, and the Vectra still looking threatening there. Big gap from these three to the fourth placed car, and that is Stephen Jelly. So we've got two pairs of cars here, the two Vauxhalls split by the BMW, then the other BMW. Let's see what Matt Jackson's been doing. This is up against Johnny Adam, and this is for 9th place. And it certainly looks as though the car is undamaged. He's still able to race hard for it, and he took the place going into Church.
Yeah, very good move that. Matt Jackson recovering well from that, and that old cagey driver we talked about earlier, James Thompson, well, he's up in 6th, so it looks like the old bulls are doing the job.
It does rather, because Plato's just ahead of him too in 5th, so the experience counts for a lot here at Thruxton, no doubt about it. And out in front at the moment it is Giovanardi, Fabrizio Giovanardi, just about clinging on to a tenuous lead for Vauxhall. He's looking for 2 out of 2 here today to put behind him all the mishaps of Brands Hatch. This is the view of the top 2 from Matt Neal, still sitting there in 3rd. He's lost another couple of car lengths over the last lap.
Yeah, he may have just decided to take the 3rd place, but Giovanardi after Brands, he's got to take every point that he can. He will be going outright for wins, he'll defend hard. He's got Nick Leeson in front just coming out of the chicane. I think he'll get past cleanly on the exit before the first corner, but he will fight hard.
He will, that's right. Leeson does move over, you're right. Gets to the inside there. Could be Matt Neal who catches him at a difficult place here. Yeah, around the outside he has to go. That takes him off the line. Might have caused him to have to lift off the throttle a little bit, and that will hurt him in his attempt to try and close the gap back to Colin Turkington. So top 3 are through there. That is lap 18 we're on to now. So at the end of this one they'll be going on to their last lap. Giovanardi still just about in control. He's got through the tighter section. This is now the sort of danger area where the Vauxhall is sliding a bit through this next corner, but after that he usually has the edge over Turkington.
Well, it's sliding, but the thing is Giovanardi is so precise. If you watch it, it slides, but he'll slide the same amount every lap. So he's completely in control, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, which I don't think hell will freeze over before he makes a mistake. You know, he'll do the same thing every lap, and it'll be very tough for Turkington to get past.
Well, Turkington is a bit closer here, but again, it's a question of whether he can get close enough to really draw alongside, and he's certainly not close through Church Corner, which is one of the bravest corners in the country. Giovanardi is lacking nothing through there.
Yeah, I mean, the guys go through there at about 120-25 miles an hour. They only gain about 4 miles an hour on the whole run up to the chicane, so they're virtually flat out. In fact, in practice and in qualifying, some of them are flat out.
On to the last lap they go then, and lap 19 out of 19, and it's still the attack from Colin Turkington that Mike Nicholson and the other Vauxhall guys are watching for, and Team RAC would love to see it in the closing part of this race. But will Turkington take a gamble? Will he take any risks, or will he settle for second?
Giovanardi's wide there through the first part. He's going to lose a bit of momentum now. He's run wide. Turkington needs to get a really top run off this corner if he's to stand any chance. He has got a good run. He's closer than ever.
Great chance for Turkington. He's got alongside Giovanardi, but they're going into a left-hander next, but he's done it. He's swept in front. Oh, good Good timing from Turkington. Giovanardi's not going to give up though. He's going to fight back if at all possible. Turkington on a tighter line. Giovanardi now with the speed of the Vauxhall through the fast corners and the engine power that's been driving them to success here at Thruxton. Can he get back at Turkington? Turkington holding on for the moment. Just Church corner and the chicane to go.
Well, he was looking for that mistake. Look at Giovanardi across the inside. He's trying everything to get the full speed through there. He's definitely going to have a run into the last corner. He wants to make up that tiniest of mistakes in the complex.
Let's see if he can do it. Up to the chicane for the final time. All about the battle on the brakes. Turkington covers the inside. Giovanardi as close as he can be. Matt Neal locking up in the background. But they're through the first part, through the second part, out to the final part of the chicane. It's going to be victory for Colin Turkington. For Team RAC, they beat Vauxhall. And Giovanardi has to settle for second. Matt Neal finishes in third, and Team RAC have got more to celebrate because Stephen Jelly finishes in fourth place. Behind him it's Plato. No, Collard. Collard beat Plato on the final lap there. Collard took fifth place, Plato sixth, Thompson seventh, then Adam Jones, Matt Jackson and Paul O'Neill. Well, what a fantastic race to the finish, and Turkington, Tim, timed that pretty much to perfection.
Yeah, Dick Bennett's absolutely delighted, and it was a classy drive. He was patient, he took his opportunities. Both times he passed Matt Neal through a mistake of Matt Neal, and Giovanardi through a small mistake on the last lap, too fast into the complex, and it was perfect driving.
His second ever win here at Thruxton, and had a couple of second places here in 2008, did Colin Turkington, and that makes up for it. This was Matt Neal's view, as Colin Turkington just got such a great run out of the complex, and there was nothing really that Giovanardi could do to prevent the momentum that Turkington was carrying. Giovanardi just lost that little bit of ground through the complex for the final time, carrying the ballast. He couldn't hold on any longer, and Turkington judged it beautifully. Swept past. Look how hard Giovanardi was trying. He was on the grass at Goodwood, then down towards Church. The next corner, he was also trying absolutely everything. This is where they're picking up to 120 mile an hour, and he was almost on the grass, and you can just see that was the moment. Turkington was just carrying another 5 to 7 mile an hour more out of the complex than Giovanardi, and that was as a result of Giovanardi just sliding around that bit too much, and Turkington takes the victory as a result. Second time we've seen a BMW win this year, but the first time it's been a Team RAC version. It's Turkington the winner from Giovanardi and Matt Neal. Stephen Jelly a fine fourth ahead of Rob Collard, Jason Plato and James Thompson. Adam Jones was 8th, Matt Jackson was 9th, then Paul O'Neill in 10th. Remember, we don't know how many of those will be reversed on the grid for race 3 today. Jonathan Adam just outside the points ahead of Harry Volkard, then Dave Pinkney and Martin Bell, John George and Martin Johnson, Tom Chilton in the Team Aon Focus, Andrew Jordan out of luck after that incident with Stephen Jelly earlier. Ian McMillan and Nick Leeson completed the runners. And take a look at what this has done in the Drivers' Championship. Matt Neal still leads, he's on 60 points, but look, Colin Turkington on 56 has really closed that gap up. Giovanardi there on 44 points, of course, as we would have come to expect, playing a part in that as well. Stephen Jelly gaining some useful points there. He's in 6th place. Adam Jones again scoring. He finished in 8th place in that race. A very solid, consistent start to the season for Cartridge World. Johnny Adam in 8th place, Andrew Jordan 9th, and Gordon Shedden, of course, not racing here this weekend. So into the pits they come, and Colin Turkington certainly doing everything right there, timing it to perfection. A 19-lap race as a result of that earlier safety car period. We lost Dan Eves right at the start of the race, of course, out of this one. But it's Turkington for Team RAC who takes race 2.
So first win of the season for Team RAC, a spectacular win for Colin Turkington, and a spectacular last lap lunge at the champion Fabrizio Giovanardi, and what a satisfying moment for driver and team as they move closer to Matt Neal at the top of that championship table. And Colin, if you can get your helmet off and give us the reaction, what a last lap and what a win.
Yeah, it was incredible. You know, I knew my car was very good over the 16 laps, and you know, we talked about just waiting, and you know, it played into my hands. You know, the two Vauxhalls were very fast in the beginning, and I was struggling to keep up, but the the old baby done well, and those last 3 or 4 laps, I just had the edge, so I'm really delighted, really happy for everybody at Team RAC.
Was that down to tyres as well? Your tyres were working a lot better in the latter stages of that race.
Yeah, just a bit of tyre management. We struggled a bit with the balance in race 1, but in that race it was spot on, so I'm really happy. That's a great win.
Well, take a look at the monitor if you can. This is the moment that you got past Fabrizio Giovanardi, and not taking any undue risks.
Yeah, no, I'm not a risk taker. It's a long championship, 30 races. So I was going to settle for second, but then the opportunity knocks and you have to pounce.
So what about the championship campaign as a whole now? You move really close, I think 4 points behind Matt Neal at the top now.
Yeah, that's ideal to help that. We've had a really strong start to the season, and the lads have done really well, so we're going to push on and try and stay up there.
And how do you build on this for race 3?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously we're going to start a bit far back, but the hard work's done today. I just need to pick up a few points the next race to be happy.
Colin, congratulations. A win based on a lot of last lap drama, the kind of last lap drama we so often associate with the British Touring Car Championship. We'll have the draw for the reverse grid in a few minutes' time. We'll have more reaction as Dick Bennett congratulates his triumphant driver here in Parc Fermé. More reaction and more support race action as well, right after the break.